So I was thinking, okay, like about full self-driving by Tesla, and then how all the Chinese companies are like pretty rapidly developing their own versions. But it super coincides with when Tesla entered the Chinese market and started to build cars out of Shanghai. So I was just thinking, like, I was asking AI right now, like, about the infrastructure of how it works, like what's computed on the car, what's computed at the data center. If someone had the code, could they implement on their own car or own system? But um, the answer is like no, not really, because whatever, it's a bit technical. But you would need the same exact, let's say, hardware. But you can still kind of get maybe something. But it's more like just the maybe being around that kind of technology, and then people in different industries. There could be people changing jobs or whatever. They'll get um, some idea transfer. So then I went, like, I kept down that line of path of talking to the AI and talking about China, and we realized that, like, another significant advantage of like why so many Chinese companies are going so fast with their own self-driving is because, and why there's so many Chinese EV companies, and in a notoriously difficult industry to make money in, because it's all because the Chinese government funds them so much, all these companies. So I was thinking about the government, structure of China and the benefits it gives you, where like you could have like unlimited bankroll for certain companies in certain industries that you think are important or whatever, like super subsidized and allowed to work. But then that same government is why they couldn't think of or do full self-driving themselves. Not because they're not as smart as Americans, but because the government limits their free thought and free speech. So you literally aren't free to talk and think about new innovative ideas, let's say, kind of, because you're limited to speak about, oh, the government's pretty bad. So the fact that Western countries still kind of have that is why they lead in innovation over China. China's very good at copying. They're the best at like manufacturing because they work really well, but they don't really innovate. Like, they don't. I don't know. Not recently. I don't want to. I'm not making like a racist remark. I'm making like a government system remark. It's interesting. And I went one more question into myself to think, like, if the government of China knew this, that their way actually, in a way, limits their country. Their country's, like, I mean, like, how much would they allow free thought to keep power, let's say. Governments are really tricky things. Like, idealistically, they're good if you could keep them clean, but you should keep them, I think, minimal. Because free markets create their own best way. Like if you make an entity ultimate, it's gonna not work. But with free markets, there is none of that. It's free. Anybody could climb that ladder, and it's like everyone's playing in the same rules. But if you make the government different rules, it becomes like dangerous. Like right now in Canada, okay, since Trudeau resigned, the nice backdrop of sirens. Since Trudeau resigned, the Liberals put in power like some guy who wasn't even living in Canada, I don't think. Like, he was the governor of, the director of the Bank of England. Like, he's part of the World Economic Forum. Like, no one in my country voted for this guy, not one citizen. And this guy's like our prime minister walking in parades. Like, bro, no one here voted for you. Like, you're just here because of the power structure. So, like, let's not pretend it's not this. So that kind of thing is really not good. It's really not good. So we need to, as a society and as Canadians, but as all society, all governments, really trim our government's inefficiencies. Since we have technology, like since we have computers, since we have internet, the way that we can govern ourselves is way faster and could be way more efficient than how it has been done since the beginning of our country's hundreds of years ago, you know. So if we could find a way to transition from this way to that way, you know, like Elon is doing Doge, and he's talking about how you know, if he goes too hard to try to just avoid criminals illegally siphoning tax money, if you just go too hard on that, your life becomes more in danger in relation to how hard you go at that. Obviously, like, you know, these people obviously are not, they don't play by the rules as a get-go, right? Because they're robbing the government's funds, which is you and my and everyone that pays taxes money. So it's just a power thing, but that happens also in business and stuff. It's just like a way of life. So there's nothing wrong. Let's say, like, it's just human nature. There's nothing wrong with human nature, kind of. You know, we're all human. It's okay. Like, it's forgivable. But we have to transition in a way from this corrupted world, like this fallen, like sad world, to like a higher level frequency. And we could do that if we grease those hands on a long-term plan. So like all the mafia in all the governments across the world, if the new guard, like the new technologically literate guard, that could like massively increase the standard of living for all citizens, obviously we should do that as a species, then we just have to long-term pay these people, these families, these bosses as an exit strategy. I mean, you can go as long as 100 years, but I would say like if you make the initial deal like 25, 50, 30, like a real nice exit, severance, retirement pay. And then once you make that deal, you can, from that next day, start using proper materials for roads, start, you know, eliminating all kinds of bullshit, bureaucracy, all kinds of waste. Obviously it has to be a bit less, like, you know, government of the USA was like, is going towards bankruptcy if Elon's not eliminating. He said, I don't know what the numbers he says, like, the interest on the debt is more than what the USA spends on the military every year, but like also like the amount of just pure fraud every year is in the, like, I don't know how many billions or even like trillions. So like 1 trillion is 1,000 billion, 1 billion is 1,000 millions. 1,000 millions is just 1 billion. It's a really like astronomical amount of money, and it's just waste. It's literally not. The citizens, like the fund, the amount of money that the government has to create nice societies is like so much more than it's actually going towards creating nice societies. It's literally just funding people. So it should be like that. We should, you know, in life you find a better way to do something, and like if the current system has like strange limitations because it's never done this new way, like, but if it's a better new way, you will find the way to go that way, because that's what life wants. Life wants to get better. So we should just do it in a peaceful kind of, as much as possible, not to have to like make people pay. I don't think that is the smart way, you know. Like an eye for an eye makes everyone blind. It's like, just like, if you forgive and you say it's all right, like I'm you too, you know, like I'm sure I have family, or I myself, no one's perfect. So it's like, let's just, you know, we're all one big family, let's just evolve to the next level. Let's do this somehow way to pay the hands that need to be paid in an exit strategy for like 20, 25 years. And let's start having nice roads, and let's start having good hospitals and good education, and like, let's just clean this garbage up. It's an idea. You just would have to somehow protect like the identities of where the money's going on these deals, I guess. But I mean, aren't they already kind of? We just have to kind of like, we're just not going to make this transparent for 20 years, you know, or something. You can work out a deal to make it work, and then literally as of the next year, all the cities and stuff, everything can start running better, because you're just making like a loan, like a promise, just a financial instrument that's going to guarantee safety, a safe transition. It's like, we have unlimited time, you know, like literally, like long-term time solves everything, because, you know, life's been here for billions of years. Like, you know, it's gonna, we don't have to think so small and short term. So that's my speech. Carney, call an election and make sure it's fair, and like let's not waste time with this joke. Canada's not. Thank God your bosses told Trudeau to resign so that they could have you there for a year. But Trudeau was there for 10 years because Canada needs term limits. That's another very important thing. Another problem with big government and the I don't even know what's I hope our elections have never been stolen, but the 2020 election in the USA was absolutely stolen. And they use machine voting. I'm not aware, but I think apparently Canada doesn't. But meaning to say, there's a lot of forces that are going to try to, steal elections if they can. So I'm not sure we even have fair elections. I hope we do. I've worked as a counter, like when I was in my, I don't know, late teens, early 20s. Like I know the system, but I still I didn't. I was just signing them. Like I don't know what's happening when they have all the boxes. Sure, like there's people signing things, but I'm just saying it's not like elections were only stolen once machines existed. So it's not a stupid question to ask. Like, is there other ways to make a fraud even without? Because of course there is. But I don't know. I think Canada's all right. But anyways, we do need term limits because Trudeau stayed for 10 years and he sold us out like heavily. Like I don't know. I didn't mind him. I thought I would. I don't know if I voted for him, but I would have voted for him when he was running because he wanted to make weed legal. And he did right away, and then he removed troops from Afghanistan or something. So I was like, it's clear that when politicians first start, they're not bought yet, and then obviously you're gonna become bought, which is another thing. Like I'm not ignorant, I'm not naive. Like I don't judge him that much, but then kind of what he was doing at the end, I mean, of course I didn't respect him, especially what he was doing during COVID, and I don't know if he ever I don't want to get into COVID as a whole. Not their cookie, but he was just compromised. So it means at that point you of course need term limits to change the water. Of course often human, it's gonna lead to corruption, it's gonna lead to compromise. It's kind of just the way life works. But if you change the person, it's at least gonna take some time for it to get re-corrupted, and it's better for the system to have that safety mechanism. So Canada absolutely needs term limits. This can never happen again. We can never have someone in charge for 10 years. Now, he could have literally stayed maybe forever if they're able to do a lot of things that they're already trying to do, apart from the fact that no one liked this guy, so it's going to become really difficult to win an election even if you're kind of stealing it. So what I'm saying is the government of Canada is main, I don't know how much, I don't know, and since COVID, the treasuries were open, the governments, I think COVID was manufactured. I think it was for many reasons, but one of them was to just make a lot of money and rob a lot of money from governments. If you want to say robbing, meaning all these loans that massive companies didn't even need, or there's all kinds of things that it's just a free way, an excuse to really clean take money from a government in a legal way that is just manufactured. So yeah. So since then, there's also been with the CRA in Canada, it's where you had to call to get your COVID payments or whatever, and so they had hired 4 times as many employees during that time, and I don't think they ever cut those people. Let's say, I'm not sure, maybe they did, but in general, I think in the last few years, I think the main employer of Canada was the government, or 25% of new hires were the government. I'm not sure on the numbers, but it's just a heavy number. And then I used to do road trips in this. I used to do long-term road trips with people, paying customers, and I would meet a lot of different people. I would go between Montreal and Ottawa, and when I'm in Ottawa, I get a lot of people that work for the government. We were talking about this last summer about. I was talking about a lot of these things. I'm saying that we need term limits. Now the person I'm talking to could work for the Liberal government. So if I'm saying I need term limits, it means to say we need to change your party. So it means to say you won't have a job. So it's it's literally that. And now it's not my problem that guy works for doesn't have job stability if his party loses. That's part of your job. Teachers get the summer off. Firemen get women that want to fuck them, nurses, no, there's things that come with jobs. Now is your choice to have that job, So, mean to say, like, but that aspect could make it so that if you hire, like, if like there could be a lot of like actual people that actually want the current position, company, party to stay in power. So um, that's like another problem, kind of. We have to be aware of like you know Trump not getting killed. Like a lot of people that don't fully understand like the truth of the world. I'm literally gonna say it like that. Might not realize that like how lucky we all are that he didn't die. Because what is happening right now in the States versus like if if it was, I don't know. I don't even want to think about what was gonna happen. It's just would have been very bad, like on many fronts. And now that him and Elon are like doing what's kind of in a way inspired this whole talk about like inspiring people all over the world to trim the fat in their governments and like make it clean. But I don't know what the thing that I was saying about the 25-year exit plan for the mafia and the government. It wasn't Elon's not doing that. Like it's not. It's just I'm just trying to think because he was saying that he's scared more for his life, even though he's massively targeted. People are bombing like all the Tesla things. Like it's and the people that he's against, like they or whatever, they've been against it for some time. Like Biden had the EV summit in the States, like the you know like a fucking get together for electric car companies, and they didn't like invite Tesla, and they're like not only the massively the biggest company, especially then, but they're completely American company, and that's just retarded. Like that's why you're even having this summit. Like, and same with the Dragon capsule in space recently. Like those astronauts were there for 9 months instead of like a few days but like he was ready. Biden or whoever controls Biden could have just did what Trump did right away. Now that these astronauts are back home safely, but they didn't because like they can't be asked by Elon's company to save the day. So these astronauts, like as much as they wouldn't say it themselves, because like, or especially not while they were in space, they can't really fully say it. But I'm sure they were thinking it. Like you were supposed to be there for a few days. Like apparently there's only like 3 to 6 months maximum that a human should stay in space because there's a lot of problems that start to happen biologically with their organs and their bones, and the density is getting less. Like it could get like kind of really bad after a year, let's say, and they were there for 9 months. So there was like not that much worry about what was gonna happen. I guess once Trump didn't get shot, they were thinking, oh well, like let's see if we can do it with Kamala, and however much they tried. For people that are still not sure if 2020 was stolen, of course this guy could barely walk at the end, especially I mean, I felt like it was from that actual day, from those days, because I was watching all the like numbers very closely live, like refreshing many websites, and there was some bullshit happening near the end when it was looking like, okay, yeah, he's gonna win, and then there was like, and then they stopped 5 states counting at the same time across 3 time zones. Like one was stopping at 3 hours at a different time from the ones on the West Coast. So there was some bullshit, and then like spikes of 100,000 Biden votes. So you don't have to go into the details of it because some people don't believe that yet. So even as many details as you want to show them, they're not gonna believe it. But there's one kind of like very huge smoking gun, is that from like the Clinton times, like since the 90s, the number of voters for the parties, like the max the Democrat president got is always like in the 60,000s, high 60,000s. Maybe like I think it's around there, mid to low to it's in the 60s. Biden got like something like 80. I think Biden had like most votes of any president ever. So it's like Clinton, Obama, years, many elections, 60s. Biden in 2020 in like 80s, or I don't know how many did, and then Kamala back to the 60s. So where are these 25,000 people that spiked it, or whatever the actual numbers are? Okay, it's like massive amount, like 30% more came with Biden for the one time ever, and then it all went back to that normal historical trend. So there's like no, I don't know how you could explain that away. I'm sure you can if you want to, but so we're very lucky as a society and as humanity that Trump didn't die and that they're in power right now with Elon cleaning house as much as they can. Hopefully they don't die. They might. We never know like how things go. The assassination attempt on Trump is like a thing that there's not really much like to talk about apart from the fact that when you start to talk about it, like, you know, and think about it a little bit long, you're like, yeah, it obviously was allowed to happen. So like, this is something that we're talking about. Like, it's not JFK that happened like 7 years ago. It's something like, you know, happened not even a year ago. So the people that did it wouldn't want to hear this noise. It just sounds like noise for them. So you can't talk about this too much, like, because like there's all very real people that orchestrated it and are still in a very powerful position. So, but it's obvious, you know. So, anyways, it's important to think about all of this. I don't know how else to say it. And right now with Canada, with Carney, look, Mr. Carney, I don't really judge you. I think we're all one. I don't really care that much. I'm not, like, I don't need people to pay. I just hope that you don't, like, whatever influence you to take this, if you just like the power and the money and the sex and whatever you get out of it, or if you were paid to do it, or if it's a bit of both, and somehow you like it, just call it an election. Let's hope it's fair, and like, let's just give us that much, okay?